Joel Embiid leading the way scoring-wise for the Sixers. By the way, before they added Tobias Harris, they were the only team in the league with 4 players averaging at least 17 points per game. Now they're the only team that have 5 doing just that. Sixers, Nuggets, we're counting you down here. Just under 15 minutes to go here on ESPN.
Y'all come here every day, ask me about free agency, ask my teammates, my coaches. You rile up the fans about it. And now when I don't want to talk to y'all, it's a problem with me. Come on, man. Grow up. Grow up. What's the problem? What am I doing to y'all?
We're talking to the media.
So? Who are you? Why do I got to talk to you? I just want to play ball. I want to go to the gym and go home. Is that a problem? All right, then.
Going out on a limb, I'm guessing Mr. Durant doesn't want to talk about next season, but others do, others with beliefs. Westgate has given hypothetical odds on potential landing spots for KD this summer. They still place the Warriors as heavy favorites. If he were to switch teams, the Knicks have the next best odds, followed by the Clippers. Here's Mr. Kerr and Mr. Durant.
We're all actors in a soap opera. We really are. And so we have to deal with that part of it. And also understand that it's a big part of the revenue stream. You know, the intense passion and interest that fans have for who's going where, what team's doing what. You know, it'd be nice if everyone could just pay attention to pick and roll coverage, but gossip is more interesting sometimes, and we're all part of that. So you just accept it and deal with it the best you can, and you keep moving forward.
Steve, stop staring at me. ESPN Warriors reporter Nick Friedell is in Phoenix, where the Warriors will take the Suns tonight. We just heard what Mr. Kerr thinks about the Durant from Wednesday. But I haven't heard a lot of what the teammates have been saying afterwards.
Keith, in talking to people within the organization for the last 24 hours, I think a lot of people are just happy that Kevin got all that stuff off his chest. He cleared out what had been really bothering him over the last week or so. He knows it's not going away, but he got it out. Were they happy he did it in such a public fashion? No, but now he can just go back to focusing strictly on basketball, and his teammates have stood behind him at every turn in that regard. This is a group that is extremely loose and is playing the best basketball they played all season. Steph Curry was outside today after their shoot-around in Tempe playing lacrosse with the women's lacrosse team at Arizona State. So everybody's feeling good. They hope Kevin can feel a lot better now, and they're confident that he's going to come out and play great here tonight.
Yeah, and no doubt Curry was the best ever at that game, too. All right, Nick Friedell, our Warriors reporter in Phoenix. Thank you, Nick.
Got an NBA doubleheader here on ESPN tonight. Ben Simmons and the Sixers with him with a couple of new teammates. They're playing host to the Denver Nuggets, again, 7 Eastern here on ESPN. His last line, 19-12. That was at Denver just a couple of days ago. What a busy couple days it was for these Sixers. The big name they came down with, of course, it's Tobias Harris. He's having his best NBA season, almost 21 points per game on 50% shooting. That's why Philly had to give up a lot to get him. Rookie guard Landry Shamet and several draft picks as well going to the LA Clippers for Tobias. In less than a half hour before the deadline, Sixers GM Elton Brand made the move that spelled the end of the line for Markelle Fultz in Philly, trading the young man who has struggled so much since being drafted #1 overall. Reaction today from the team.
Just where we are in the season, integrating him in a month or so when we were hoping he'd come back in 2-3 weeks, whenever that was, to add a piece now, get ready for the playoffs, and to get some assets, a first-round pick and a second-round pick. It just felt like it was the time to do it now.
I'd be lying if I didn't feel sad. I felt that, and it was 2 emotions I had. Sad personally, selfishly, I suppose, that I never really felt like I got a chance to coach him. I never really felt like the city got a chance to see him. I felt sad for that. And I was pleased for him that, he had a new start. He had a fresh start, another opportunity.
Again, Sixers hosting the Nuggets in Game 1 of our doubleheader, and Doris Burke is here on the call for it. Doris, when you consider how the Markelle Fultz situation played out from the very day they drafted him #1 overall, I don't think we should be too surprised that they decided to trade him away to move on. Although you just heard Coach, he was very emotional about this. What did they take away from the entire situation?
Well, simply put, Sage, they couldn't wait any longer for Markelle Fultz. I think there was some sense within the organization that perhaps he'd be back a little bit sooner. It wasn't proceeding in that direction. And the reality is, from the opening tip of this season and then reiterated by every move, including the Markelle Fultz situation, Philadelphia believes its championship window is now. And so they are putting together a roster that has arguably, outside of Golden State, the best starting five in the league. And they've also added much needed depth. Through these moves, they have raised the talent level on their team.
So it's clear, by the moves they're making, that they want to win now. That's the mode they're in. And today we heard a lot more from GM Elton Brand. He said it is time. Listen.
The window is now. Our opportunity is now. So once I saw that window, we discussed taking a shot at it now, because who knows how long this window is going to be open.
Brett Brown, then, I assume the pressure goes directly on his shoulders. He's been head coach since 2013, only had one winning season. How much pressure is on him?
Well, the beauty of Brett Brown is you will not find a more honest, forthright coach in the league. And we just sat with him a short time ago, and he said, listen, my challenge is twofold. Number one, there's an X and O implication. I've got to figure out the best way to incorporate Tobias Harris in particular, because we know, Sage, already there has been some shot distribution dissatisfaction amongst the starters, Joel Embiid and Jimmy Butler, and now you're adding a 21 points per game scorer. The other part of that is the human aspect, and it's up to Brett. And he just said it. It's my job to say it, and it's my job to sell it. He is under no illusions about how much pressure he's under to get to a conference finals, if not the NBA finals.
And right now, they're a half a game behind Boston for the 5th spot in the East. Again, it continues tonight as they welcome Denver to town. Doris Burke on the call. We look forward to it. Thank you, Doris.
Thanks, Sage.
Super streaks on the line in that one. Russell Westbrook has gone 8 straight games with a triple-double, one shy of tying Wilt for the longest streak in NBA history. Caveat, Oscar Robertson averaged a triple-double for the 61-62 season, and he nearly did it 2 other years. Also, there is the Harden streak. The 30 points or more streak is now at 28 games, which raises the question for the Fresh PTI segment, which is more impressive, Tony or Mike? No, which is more impressive, the Harden point streak or the Westbrook octuple triple-double?
All right, Wilbon, which streak is more impressive? James Harden's 28 straight games with 30 or more points, or Russell Westbrook's 8 straight games with a triple-double?
Tony, I'm going to go with Russell Westbrook's streak for a very specific reason. First of all, there's 7-1 in that streak. But Russell's scoring, he's averaging 11 assists, 11 rebounds, and that's great. He's down to 21 points a game. He's down to 19 shots a game. And Russell Westbrook is no longer, for the few critics he had out there, people say he's just too much of a ball hog for my taste. Okay, he's not doing that anymore.
You were
Jeremy
a big critic.
Grant, I was one of them.
Yeah.
Steven Adams and Terrence Ferguson, these guys are made by Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
He has fundamentally changed who he is and how he sets them up and how he looks for teammates. And that team, Oklahoma City, is more dangerous to me going forward because of Westbrook's evolution.
So I'm going to look at these 2 categories, and I'm going to say they don't really care all that much about them. They're a sample size of the whole season. They're not the whole season. They're rather esoteric to me, and I don't care. But is that your path to victory? Is that the only way you have to win? Russell Westbrook, and the shot selection is much better than ever. He also has Paul George with him, having a wonderful year so far. James Harden, and I know it's maddening to see sometimes because the ball's in his hand all the time. But Chris Paul was not on that team for quite a number of those games. Capella not on that team for any of those
They had
games.
to do that.
And they're 20-8.
But they got to go the other way soon. Now.
And I understand. But in that 30 games, to be 20-8 with him being the only guy, that's impressive.
People start mentioning Wilt with all these freaks. Does it seem artistic to you what Harden's doing? Is there anything artistic about it?
It's enormously impressive. I don't think that everybody has to paint the Sistine Chapel. You're there to win the game.
Really? I like the way Wilt did it. He painted the chapel, didn't he?
He did. He could reach it.
That's it.
He could reach it with his hand.
We're done. We'll have some other numbers, too. We won't get into that. Back to you.
Thank you. Here's what's happening on SportsCenter right now. After the Lakers' big last-second win in Boston last night, GM Rob Pelinka says team president Magic Johnson will meet with the team this weekend in Philly ahead of Sunday's game against the Sixers. According to the LA Times, Johnson is expected to address many things, including the fallout from the over. But Ohio State fans have a whole lot to cheer about today. We will tell you why new head coach Ryan Day got some great news. See, we are here for Buckeye Nation, Keith Olbermann.
Naturally we are, Sage. So, by the way, it's 2019 AAD. That's after Anthony Davis. And the question is, where do LeBron and the Lakers go from here? And the answer is to play the Sixers in Philadelphia on Sunday. Of course, the question was meant more in the meta sense. If anybody knows the high end and the low end of turning over a roster, just being swamped in rumors about turning it over, it's LeBron and his latest boss, Irvin Magic Johnson. And with half the Lakers having been rumored to be on the trade block and the now chimerical, diaphanous, lost bid for the Shangri-La that is Anthony Davis, Magic is to meet the team in Philly to reassure all the new guys and all the almost gone guys that it's one big happy family and there's job security and playoff prospects, something about the Patriots and everything. Looked like it actually last night in a fantastic finish in Boston after LeBron came off the largest loss of his career, 42 to Indiana. Lakers down by 6. Caldwell Pope from way downtown. Bang! And it's 3. Under a minute to go, Celtics still up by 3. This time LeBron loses it, gets it back, contested, and we're tied at 124. With 22 seconds to go, Lakers have dropped back down by 2. Ingram drives to Kyle Kuzma, knocks down his own 3, and the Lakers are ahead with 18.5 to go. Boston goes back in front, 10 down. Ingram blocked by Horford. Look who it is at the end. It's Rajon Rondo. Vengeance is mine. Lakers win 129-128. Afterwards, Lakers happy. Rondo. Revenge! Revenge!
It definitely feels surreal. I haven't watched the replay yet, but this is one I'll be playing for the rest of my life.
He couldn't even dream about that moment, to be back here in the Garden and where he won a championship, where obviously, he has so many memories of being here. And for him to get his hands on the ball at that moment and be able to knock that down, it was a storybook ending.
One thing I know about this group, whether we won this game tonight or lost this game tonight, our guys are going to come in tomorrow and work again because they've done that all year long. I'm really happy for them because it feels good in there, and they deserve that. But, win or lose, we would have been fine tomorrow.
Dave McMenamin remains with the Lakers, not dealt, and joins us now from Philadelphia in that game Sunday. And the Magic meeting, when, containing what message, what could he say? Sorry I didn't trade half of you for AD?
Yeah, Magic's making the trip west to east, stopping in East Lansing, Michigan along the way for the 40th celebration, 40th anniversary, excuse me, of the 1979 championship Michigan State team that he was such a huge part of. Then going to go to Philly, where he's going to meet with this team. The LA Times reporting that part of his intended meeting is to kind of have some sort of clear the air forum for everyone to air their grievances. It'll be like Festivus in Philadelphia, where they can say, hey, we didn't like that our name was dangled in trade rumors for a week and a half, and Magic can say to them, hey, you're still part of this team, and let's focus on the task at hand. Of course, then they still have 2 more games before the All-Star break. A very tough Sixers team with a new complexion on Sunday, and then the Atlanta Hawks on Tuesday.
Yeah, and then apparently they have to win the Super Bowl. I mean, help me here. A conference call today, and the GM, Rob Pelinka, said he hoped the Lakers season can move the way of the Super Bowl champion Patriots. You were listening onto that call. Connect the dots for us between, 2 different sports.
Yeah, Keith, here are the parallels that Rob presented. Patriots started off 1-2. They were struggling in December. People said they were done. Lakers started off 2-5. They're still struggling at this point in the season, and some people wonder if they're going to make the playoffs. Beyond that, they both have a GOAT. Tom Brady, 9 Super Bowls, 6 rings. LeBron James, 9 NBA Finals, 3 rings. And then the added caveat is Rob Pelinka says that Julian Edelman coming back for suspension really sparked that Patriots team to prominence. He thinks the spark for the Lakers will be their 2 trade deadline pickups, Reggie Bullock and Mike Muscala. I mean, we'll see. Julian Edelman, Super Bowl MVP. If Muscala and Bullock can bring any sort of those type of numbers or contributions, I mean, that would be something special. I don't know, it'd be something super for this Lakers team.
Dave McMenamin, dream come true, though. We got LeBron, the Pats, and the Super Bowl all in one story. Thank you, sir. Say
Very impressive, yes. Okay, now the team that lost to the Lakers last night. The next big piece of the Celtics puzzle is whether or not Kyrie Irving will exercise his player option and become a free agent this summer. Remember, at the beginning of the season, he told Celtics fans he wanted to remain in Boston. Last week, he was asked again about it. He left the door wide open. He was non-committal in a strongly worded interview. Today, Celtics president and GM Danny Ainge sounded very optimistic about Kyrie returning. Listen.
The way I view the situation is that I think a lot of people, because of Kyrie's announcement at the beginning of the year, thought that there was a marriage. And I think that it's more like an engagement, and we're going to get married on July 1st. And I think that engagement is still on. As far as I know, in my individual conversations with Kyrie, we're still engaged, but we really can't, make those vows, sign that contract until July 1st.
This is true. Our insider agent Wojnarowski joins me now. So Ainge sounds as optimistic as he can be. Trade deadline, it's gone. Congratulations. Right. So what happens? Do the conversations between the two continue between now and July 1st?
Well, first of all, if Danny Ainge says anything differently in public now, it starts that story all the way down the road again. And by wording it the way he did, he at least quells it again. He didn't open it up to any more uncertainty. And Danny Ainge knows this, that in the end, it's not going to be the recruiting of Kyrie Irving through the year. He's already there. He knows what they are and what he has. And all Danny Ainge and ownership think they can do is make the team, the organization, as presentable as possible, from winning this season to the roster that he would have going forward when he's got to make his decision in July. And if there's something else he wants out there, well, then he'll go take it. And there's nothing they can do about it.
The one thing they can do is offer him more money than anybody else, $49 million more than anybody else, because they can offer that 5th year. So if that's his goal, then he should stay right there in Boston. We'll see. Okay, you broke the news last night that the Pelicans are no longer considering holding Anthony Davis out the rest of the season. He will be playing. Good news to his teammates, of course. Listen.
We all enjoy Anthony. We all love having him and playing with him. Just being able to kind of get his, I guess, what is this? Like the tour that like Paul Pierce and Kobe had. Like this is kind of like an AD tour. Nah, but I think for Anthony, man, like I said, this is his passion. This is what he wants to do. So he's still gonna come out here and play as hard as he can and give all he has. And I feel like he's shown that ever since he's played.
You know, it was a tough couple of weeks for his teammates. So I'm glad they've kept their sense of humor, Woj. But what changed?
Well, the Pelicans talked to the league office, and the league office reminded them of a few things about the idea of holding Anthony Davis out and trying to not play him for the rest of the year to preserve him from getting injured. The league said, listen, there are already rules on the books. There's a resting rule in the league that if you're a healthy player, a healthy star, and you're playing a national TV game, or you can't just sit guys out. And you know, they told them this too. Listen, if you try to hold him out, and this is seen as retribution for him asking for a trade, the league has already fined him $50,000. You can't punish him again. He will file a grievance with the Players Association, with the league, and he will win.
Yeah.
There's no way for you to sit him. And the team also came to the, I think, the final sense that, listen, they have season ticket holders and they have fans who have paid with the idea that they're going to see him play. And listen, while they might like to get a higher draft pick, this is not an organization that has tanked. They're owned by the same group that has the Saints. That's not a football mentality either.
Yeah, so I guess it's just back to business as usual, right? By the way, they took him out of their montage, their game intro montage. Tonight would be his first game back since injuring the finger. Is he going back in the video? Business back as usual, right?
Yeah, and the other thing, too, he's going to play fewer minutes, and you'll probably see him a lot less on back-to-backs.
Okay, Woj with the latest. Thank you.
Thanks, Sage.
Still